Hi, everyone. Welcome to another podcast on the Whatever Podcast. Today, we have a really special guest. I was actually a guest on his podcast a few weeks ago. Maybe it's like a month now.
Probably about a
But
month,
anyway, yeah. Is it a month now?
probably.
Yeah. So I'm so excited that he's here. We're going to get into some a juicy topic today. But before that, I want him to introduce himself.
All right. Peace to the people. I go by Conscious Said, or Said for short. Conscious Said of Conscious or Crazy podcast. Been probably podcasting for about 6 years now, going on 6 years. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about everything: the media, the truth, the history on things. The true version of history. The hidden colors of history, the hidden truths of history. But talk a little bit about everything. Lately, been talking about relationships. But yeah, hip hop to relationships to music to media. Talk a little bit about everything. So, yeah. Conscious or crazy? I make you think: is he conscious or is he crazy? Try to have topics to you know uh, stay on that tightrope. You know what I'm saying? Salute to to the queen.
Awesome. So we are so happy. Did you get a chance to let everybody know where to find you? I guess
Okay.
we could do that. We could take care of that stuff later. Let's get into the topic. All
Conscious or
right.
crazy
So
podcast. You know.
today's topic is going to be settling versus self-love. And the first question that I want to ask you is going to be, how do you like? What's your personal self-care routine? How do you practice self-care? What do you think it is? Tell us
Mhm.
a little bit about that.
Um, I guess to be honest, anything that pleases your dopamine, for the good. And sometimes things pleases your dopamine for the bad. Alcohol and drugs. But outside of that, like things that's positive for the dopamine, like it could be writing in silence, tree hugging, grounding yourself, walking in nature, a little bit of everything, meditation, or just straight up sitting in silence, just breathing in and out. People people have different methods of relaxation. But yeah, I mean self care or self love, it's about I feel like in today's society people really don't know how to be alone with self, and I'm not talking about you and your phone. I'm talking about just you and you, just you solo dolo, in the room, just vibing out, TV off. I think I don't know. I think we're scared of self sometimes. I think um, I feel like sometimes we use our friends as distractions to run away from self. But just being alone with self in the most positive way. Several examples, even going skating, walking, just going for a walk, things like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So do you have like a set routine, like something that you do every single day, like a ritual of some sorts for self-care, or do you find that it's more of like a as needed thing? Like you kind of check in with yourself and you're like, you know what, I've been pouring a lot into other people lately. Let me just take a couple minutes for myself. So is it structured for you or is it more just kind of as needed?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely structured, man. I mentioned writing, so I write on the side. So sometimes I just need, I'll be it's like, man, said I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, I've been writing, man. I've been chilling by myself, And plus, I'm like I'm an extrovert, but I'm an introvert at the same time. I kind of thin the line, so I pretty much be on my Andre with the flute. Like you see me when I'm outside, you see me like pretty much. But nah, natural things. My release is sometimes it's watching shows, watching movies. Sometimes that could be my release, and just watching good content or writing content, and editing podcasts sometimes. But sometimes that could be stressful. But it all
Right.
yeah.
I could definitely sympathize with that one. I have a little bit of a background in editing and I love it. Don't get me wrong, but like sometimes it's just annoying because like you go back over the same clip, like when you're editing, and then there's like a particular clip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's not get it all into that.
Oh yeah. It's
But yeah, I could definitely sympathize with that. And I love that you brought up a whole bunch of different options for self care because a lot of times we can feel like we need to fit into a box in a lot of different senses in life, not just with self-care. But unfortunately, self-care gets put into that too, where it's like, oh, if you're not meditating, sitting still in lotus pose and doing being all dramatic with it, not to offend anyone, but I think that it's dramatic a little bit.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like I gotta sit down and oh my god, the music and let's go to the yoga studio with the mat. Like I don't think all of that is necessary. Like it is nice to have all those things and that's a part of it. But meditation is also, like you said, just sitting in silence with yourself. Meditation is also planting or gardening or writing or doing
Oh
all
yeah.
of these things that you mentioned just now.
Stay reading books too. I got a lot of books. Power of the Subconscious Mind. That's a
Yeah.
book that's in rotation now. So yeah, it's all about what you put into your, because people think, food, you could put good food into your body, but are you putting good frequencies, period, music, TV, like
Yeah.
that's all a part of programming.
It
Yeah.
is, and it's all a part of self-care as well.
Yeah.
I guess we can liken then self-care to programming, like self-care and reprogramming yourself are kind of in the same box with each other.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's switch it over to your relationships now. Do you prefer that your significant other, when you do get in a relationship with someone, do you prefer that they have the same style of self-care as you? Or do you find yourself like, okay, well, their style is a little bit different. Like, what do you do?
I think it's all about just adjusting to the person. If I like to, sit in silence or read in silence, you know what I'm saying, and hers is watching TV, it's like, all right, we got to be in totally different spaces. Like, or
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going for a walk. You calling me on my walks, like, yo, the queens, they love to talk to release, and sometimes that's self care, talking to release. Hey, but like, hey, I'm on my walk though. You interrupted my self care. Like, it's got to be aware of each other's and kind of boundaries a little bit, but just got to be aware of each other's self care methods. And some people are totally different. Some people, you know, some people are totally different. Some people, you know, like to read, like to, I don't know. It's all about the person at the end of the day. So there's so many examples of that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm kind of the same too. I like to when I'm taking my self care, it's normally a very quiet experience. I don't like a lot of noise. I actually like the lights to be off. I like it to be dark. And when I was a kid, like my family would be like, "You're weird. Like, why are you in the bathroom in the dark? What are you doing?" Like, and I just be in there like just feeling the water on my skin, like because your senses heighten
yeah,
when when you deprive yourself of, like, I guess, sight, then every other sense heightens. And I just, sometimes just too much light is a lot for me. Um, and so, like, yeah, I do that. And you're right. Like, being in relationships, it can feel like you're being suffocated sometimes when the other person is very extroverted with their self-care. Because I really think that the loud TV and all of that stuff is just like what you were saying earlier, just a distraction. I don't think that I think like yeah, maybe that's just my bias, but I don't think that you could be
mm-hmm.
practicing self-care with it being really loud and
Oh yeah,
and all that. I think you have to kind of sit in silence for it to be self. Because how are you focusing on your inner thoughts if there's so much going on
right.
outside of you?
It
You know?
ties back to like the dopamine. Some people think alcoholism is self care, but it actually, it could
It,
serve
yeah,
a
yeah,
bad purpose. It
yeah.
can be a version of self care, but it's not going to really be beneficial to self at the end of the day. Messing around with your lungs, kidneys. Like I know people that's been affected. Generationally speaking, like fathers and stuff like that. Like yeah, that's why I drink tea. So, yeah,
Very true. It's great that you bring up the alcoholism thing because I find that that's a big issue in our community nowadays. It's something that a lot of us really struggle with. From my end, dating men and even like men in my family, it's really a thing. Like it's really something that we struggle with. Um, and it's not just us, it's other groups of people as well. Um, but yeah, it's it's not the greatest coping mechanism. It really isn't, and it's a shame that that that's the thing. Instead of like, I don't know, meditation being just as cool as or just as gone to or sought after as alcoholism, because technically they do the same thing. Like, well, I guess they do the opposite things. Um,
Oh, yeah,
Meditation gives you what you hope alcoholism will get you at some point.
exactly. Escapism.
And yeah,
Go,
so
go.
like I really hope, and I think it's gonna happen. I really feel, you know, I have hope. I'm optimistic. I think that eventually we will get to the point to where meditation and things that are actually positive for you will become the norm, and it'll become the okay, I'm not feeling so good today. Let me go sit down and meditate. I
Yeah,
really hope that that becomes the first stop rather than I'm not feeling so good today. Let me drink myself to death or let me smoke until, you know, I don't feel it anymore or whatever else.
speaking of
Um,
smoking, like
yeah, yeah.
Tyson, he always talking about DMT, toad. Like the toad sound like, just by his experience with the toad, it changed his life for the better. The self reflection, 24/7 with the toad. I ain't pushing the toad, but I'm saying it's experience. Yeah, but nah, that's what I hear, man. I don't know DMT, I don't know, but our longest.
I haven't tried it. I kind of just stick with the basics, marijuana, and then I branched out a little bit to the shrooms, and they scare me a little bit. So I came on back to the marijuana, and
Yeah,
now even that is, you know, I'm even exploring that and trying to figure out if it's really necessary in my life, and you know,
yeah,
anyway.
because
Uh,
our lungs produce the
but
most.
yeah, that's a conversation for another day. Because I don't want to get caught up in the whole like dependency thing. Like I don't want to depend on people. I don't want to depend on substances. I want to make sure that, you know, whatever I do enjoy, whether it be relationships or whether it be recreational activities or substances, that it's for a positive experience and not because I'm trying to block out something that happened to me or because I'm trying to block out emotions and feelings. Um, so we talked a lot about self care already. Let's kind of switch a little bit. Let's switch gears over to the other topic, which is settling. How would you define that?
I mean, settling, it could be so many examples of settling. I mean, for example, I drink tea instead of alcohol. I drink kombucha instead of alcohol. It gives me that, that that sparkle, but it's not the same
Yeah.
as alcohol. I
Yeah.
drink ginger beer instead of, Bud Light. Just for examples. So things like that. That's an example of settling. So it's just, I guess, finding benefits in, finding benefits in something, um, lesser, but actually beneficial to you. That's what I think. And like, I guess relationships, since we kind of approaching that, settling for, I guess, a man, or just settling period is, for example, you got a good woman, you know, you you know, you cook instead of her. Like, she's not a cooker. You're like, you settle, it's fine. It's gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? She can make reservations. She can't make pasta. It's fine. Like, it's like, it's okay. Like, you got to settle with that. You know.
Okay, so it's interesting that you used good woman and can't cook in the same sentence. I
Yeah.
want to kind of explore that because um, traditionally a good woman is a woman who can cook. So then I have to ask you, what do you consider to be a good woman?
Mm. Um, I think we talked about it a little bit. I think in relationships we try to look, of course, for the perfect person. Like I said, like, her only slight is like she can't cook, for example. Like, it's all right, but she checks all the boxes. I think we kind of
What are
have
your
this.
boxes? You're kind of tiptoeing around. I'm sorry, I don't mean to
Oh
cut you
no,
off, but like I need some details.
oh no, I'm diving into it. You know what I'm saying, I think when it comes to relationship, we have unrealistic, boxes that we say, oh yeah, they gotta be this and that. They gotta,
Yeah, I
they gotta
remember we
be great.
talked about that on your
They gotta be great in
podcast.
bed. They gotta be. It's like sometimes, like, nah, you're gonna get a mother instead of a freak. Right? You gotta settle with that. Like, I'd rather have a a woman that's in my life to, to have my kids instead of having a freak. I've been settled that, like, I don't need no freak. That's ridiculous.
But okay, so I'm so glad that you brought that up because
Yeah.
That's a thing. We think that it has to be one or the other. We think that it has to be, okay, if I go for the mother type, then I'm not going to get the freak. But at the end of the day, people are multi-layered, especially women. We have a lot of layers, a lot of dimensions, a lot of things that come with us, right? So you might have met her and she was one thing, but she has that other side. You just have to, be around long enough and inspire her enough for her to let unleash that other side of her. But we're all dual beings. We all have, both sides. So, and it works the same way for women. We think that we have to either go with the good guy who has a straight job and, whatever else, and then, or the bad guy who sells drugs or whatever. And we think that it has to be either or, but it doesn't.
It's like a myth that the good guy is not good in bed. Like it's like a myth. Right. It's like, I want the bad boy because
and that's definitely not true.
The bad boy got herpes. I'm gonna tell you,
definitely the bad boy true.
Got herpes. He got. It's like, the bad boy. He's gonna burn you 2 ways.
My god.
But I think and then to tie it back, sometimes we expect our partner to check all the boxes. That's why it's good to have friends, because we have friends because some way or fashion, our partner don't complete us fully. So that's why we have good friends to rely on, to get advice from, because we can't take everything to our partner. And then, like I think I said with you, telling the truth all the time. Men telling the truth to our women, it could be vicious. Like, it could be eventually, some feelings gonna get involved, and the truth is, all of a sudden the truth can be very offensive. So I think we have friends to check those boxes, because I was in relationships where I would think my partner, we're supposed to be intellectuals. We're supposed to have conversations all the time, but she's an introvert. So what I do, like, oh, she's not going to talk all the time. So I got to, just got to adjust to people and accept people for who they are. And, it's people. And then I thought it was a problem. Like, why she's quiet? Like, no, she's an introvert. It's fine. She just don't want to talk. We don't have to talk. The people just got to adjust to people that they're dealing with, and be understanding, and truly that's what it comes down to, be understanding of the person that you're dealing with, and, balance each other out.
I think that having a friend to be able to tell the truth to it has its pros and cons. The pros we've discussed, but then the cons are you're in like a whole relationship with this person, but they don't know how you truly feel about things. And then so it's like you at the end of the day, your friend's not going to be around all the time. You have to actually deal with this person. Like, you're living with them, if that's the case, or you're spending a lot of time with them. So if they're constantly doing something that triggers you, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. At some point, you're going to have that conversation. Does it have to be, and we did, like, during your podcast, we talked about choice of words. So we won't get all into that. But all right. So the next question, let me look. Okay. So in my mind, settling is something that is negative. Like, it's actually something that I run from. I think about settling as like, this person treats me well. He checks all of the boxes that society says that he should check as a man, but there is something about him that just doesn't sit well with my spirit. And so for me, that's settling. If I were to settle for somebody, it would be you check all the other proverbial boxes that you're supposed to check, but you don't sit well with me. And to me, that's unacceptable. I can't do it. And then so if I look at settling that way, then I run from settling. Like, I can't. That's probably why I'm single now. Like, I just can't. I can't. Yeah, yeah. For me, I would rather a guy who my spirit says yes to, but he doesn't check all of the proverbial boxes that he's supposed to check,
Yeah,
right? Because at the end of the day, I'm sharing my personal space with you, and that's the most important thing to me. So I don't care whether you drive the nicest car, whether I mean you have to have a job. You got to be able to take care of yourself. That's a part
yeah.
of like your spirit being, you
Um,
know. There's no way
let
that
me
I would feel
let me pick at you.
comfortable around you if you didn't have those basic things.
Let me pick
Um,
at you. What if the best man out here,
Yeah, but
what if
like,
he lives in
I don't care
a
how
box
fancy
condo? I'm
everything is.
saying.
You know, it matters more to me how I feel around a person. Um, and so you kind of like talked about the positive aspects of settling. So let me flip it on you. What would be the negative aspects then
Like I
of
kind of
settling?
picked
Like,
at
what are the negative repercussions?
like something I picked at like the communication aspect of things. Like yeah, like you could like she could be a good woman, but the communication is not what you want or what you would think.
Yeah.
A lifetime partner will have. So it kind of conflicts you. It kind of picks at you. But I think yeah, in society we've been programmed that settling is bad, and it kind of I was it kind of is looked at like a B plan in a way. You're like, it's like, Tyrone, I really love Tyrone. He checked a lot of boxes, but he was always, stepping out, etc. Like, so I'm gonna settle for Mark that I friend zoned years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm
Oh
saying,
my gosh.
like, and then it kind of touches on like lovers and friends too. It kind of like I don't know if I would want to start a relationship as friends strictly because you're kind of setting it because I know the game. I've been around. I know the game. It's like, oh yeah, he's friend number two just in case one don't work, and then I'm gonna switch it and I'm gonna try them both out. Like like a
I
basketball
don't know
trial.
if that's yeah. Okay, so I hear that a lot, and
Hmm.
I don't know if that's the way that I think that that might be the way that some people look at it, but there's also another side. Like if I were like personally, if I were to have friends or whatever, I don't look at it as like, oh yeah, I need to have I did look at it when I like that when I was younger. Like, yeah, I need to have this one for this one and this one for that. But it was never for like material things. I've always been
Yeah,
very independent, but it's more so if I were to friend zone somebody, it's because I don't see myself in a relationship with them. But
exactly.
I see that maybe we can collaborate in some other type of way. Or
Hmm.
I see that they're not a terrible person like character wise and I still, so we can be friends. What's wrong with that? Like every person of the opposite sex that comes into your life, you don't necessarily need to be in a romantic relationship with them.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
think that that's kind of where we go wrong. That's where I've gone wrong. Um, when I was younger, I used to think, okay, if a guy of the opposite sex comes in, I have to automatically be considering him as a romantic partner. That's not necessarily true. There's other lanes he could fit into. He
Yeah.
could be business. He could be a really awesome business partner that I can
Exactly.
trust. That just awesome. He could be my best friend. He doesn't have to be my romantic partner. So I think that's for me. That's what the friend zone is for. Somebody that I don't see, okay, those sparks for romanticism are not there, but I don't want to completely throw you away because you're not a shitty person. You're
Exactly.
just not somebody I see myself with. You're just not giving me those vibes. So let's
I
be
think
friends. And it's up to the guy to decide. And I find that a lot of times guys,
hey,
and you
they
can
also
correct me if
say
I'm wrong. A lot of times, guys only agree to the friend thing because they, in the back of their mind, hope that they'll be upgraded at some point. And I think that's where the issue comes about. Because I don't think that women they'll friend zone
when they
somebody
friend
just to
zone
friend
you,
zone them.
exactly, they're not
Women
gonna
don't
friend
do that. I
zone
think
Denzel.
men do that.
They're not
Men
gonna
will
friend
friend
zone
zone
Denzel.
women for that purpose.
They gonna
Oh,
friend zone
sit on
Ty
the
Hall.
bench and I'll pull you off when I'm ready. Men do that. Women, we don't play around with people's. Typically, we
I
don't
mean,
play around
most.
with people's
I
feelings
mean,
like
most men. I mean, I don't know. You know, I mean, yeah, I think most men do have women as friends, but sometimes strictly put, if they're, yeah, I don't think men, we don't mess around. If we're really attracted to a woman, we can, that's why the talking phase is important,
yeah.
talking, it could be friendly vibes, get to know each other, but, a man will let you know if he's romantically and, want to evolve the relationship. But I don't really know too many men that, have like a lot of women friends. It's like, all right, you, come on, Tanya. Shit, you're next. Let's try you out. Nah. But I don't know. But
Okay, so maybe instead of saying this is only for men and this is only for, maybe it's for both sexes. Maybe both men and women do both of these things. It just depends on what type of, I guess, man or woman they are. So it's not gender exclusive
yeah,
with the friend zoning thing. We both do it. I think women know when they first meet somebody whether or not they see potential. And I think men know it too, but
right.
men are a little bit more stereotyped to drag it out
Sometimes the ego
for a
gets
long period of
involved.
time. But women do it too. We tend to drag out. I don't personally because I
Yeah.
don't like people doing it to me, so I don't do it. But women do drag out
Yeah.
situations
It was women I
that
knew.
they know they have no business in.
Yeah.
So
There's women I
it's
knew that
definitely
we
not.
we probably could have been better friends and versus lovers, and sometimes it's like that. Sometimes
Yeah.
we have, and then like I said, the settlement thing. Like, all right, I have a woman that check all the boxes. We communicate perfectly. Like we have no flaws, but eventually I just realized like, oh, we could burn each other out. Like I was subtle for the woman that doesn't
Yeah.
speak. She just comforts me, just by body language. This body language speaks more volumes than talking. Someone could tell you how they feel just by looking, just by not looking. You know what I'm saying? If we're having a conversation and I'm looking elsewhere, it's like I don't think he's it's like he doesn't want to talk, clearly. If you talking to me
Or
directly,
he's distracted. Or
yeah,
he's distracted.
he don't want to talk. I mean, body language too, but like if I'm not open, really, I'm just giving signs and vocal cues. Like, yeah, I think he's not interested in the conversation. Just little things we could pick up too. Like, I think talking is definitely overrated. Vibrations are everything. So, I'd rather a woman that's, vibrating, she don't have to talk. We don't have to say a word, but it's, a perfect balance that she provides that, my talkative self will appreciate it. My podcasting self will appreciate it, but I don't know. I think Sutherland definitely does get a bad rep. Um, it's all about, the person though.
Do you think that when you settle for somebody in the beginning, that automatically causes the demise of the relationship later on? Because I personally think that it does, but I want to hear your take on it. Like, do you think that when people settle in the beginning, that automatically, I guess, seals their fate, for lack of a better term? Like it kind of like in your mind, the back of your head, you're always thinking, I settled for this person. So you're going to be looking for, okay, I really didn't want them at the beginning. So now I'm going to look for every little reason to prove that. Like, do you think that that happens? Or is there a way to like get over that and just be like, you know what? I didn't settle. I chose to overlook um, qualities that I feel were petty and unnecessary for me to even be looking for in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm willing to still be around this person, even though XYZ. So do you think it's all in like the mindset with the settling thing? Or is it really like we just shouldn't settle at all?
Yeah, I think, I mean, even in my situation, like, all right, cool, I'm supposed to be. Yeah, some men, I feel like men, we could be very faithful to relationships and overlook that. Hey, you're in a toxic relationship, man. You shouldn't settle for toxic, man. What are you doing? It's like, but I love her. She's good people. Like, nah, she's not
Yeah,
good.
but what's
Yeah.
toxic really? Like we throw this term out there and yeah, there's a
But
consensus on what toxic is. I'm not gonna pretend that there isn't,
I
but
guess my
isn't
subtle,
it a personal thing? Like, isn't it like what you're personally willing to deal with? Because you mentioned earlier, like the cheating thing. For me, that's not a. If a guy did that in a relationship, it wouldn't be a cause to end the relationship. Honestly, I feel like that's petty. To
that's a
me, it's
separate,
okay.
Hmm.
You decided to cheat. All right. So what are you trying to do? Are you trying to say you don't want to be with me anymore? Or are you trying to say that you want to be poly? Or what are you trying to say with this cheating
Right.
thing? I feel like that's some means for a conversation. My deal breakers are going to be very different. For some people, the cheating is a deal breaker. They can't oversee that. I can talk through that. For me, there are other things that are, deal breakers. For instance, like I said, my vibe. Like if you see me and I'm quiet, I'm meditating, and you can't respect that, and we have to talk all the time, that's a deal breaker for me. There's no
Yeah.
talking through that.
And I think the
So
problem.
like everybody has their own things, and I think that's what the where the issues come about, because then somebody might be watching this podcast, for instance.
Yeah, I think purposely and consistently overlooking someone's boundaries, that's toxic. Purposely, just ego. When you got the ego involved, you always taking things. Yeah, when you're purposely stepping on someone's boundaries consistently, yeah, that's very toxic. And I think that's the definition. That's what toxic really is. When you purposely overstepping someone's boundaries, destroying their boundaries, don't care about their boundaries, a selfish individual in a relationship, that's toxic, because it's a relationship. It's two people involved. Relation. Yeah, it's just crazy. But me as a man, I would settle for I mean, peace and understanding. That's I think most men just want peace and understanding. And if you provide that, I'll settle for oh, she's not a model. Well, she gives me peace and understanding. Come here, girl. Let's make some babies. You know what I'm saying? What we doing? Let's stop playing. Like, nah, let's play. But seriously,
So
yeah.
then does that mean that like the model thing really didn't matter to you at the end of the day? Is it settling then? Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. To me, settling is like there's something that I really want in a partner that like I just can't do without, and then I overlook it for this
Right.
one person.
Yeah.
And then I see that we're on different pages with settling. So let's
I
let's get
mean,
off of that. All
settling is
right, so
something,
let's
something to
let's talk
look at.
about the last thing, which is um in a relationship. Do you still practice your self-care the way that you would practice it when you're single, or do you kind of adjust it to I think we kind of touched a little bit on this earlier. um but I yeah, I want to see what
Um,
comes out with this.
I think just have an understanding that we have different self care methods, and even doing more things together to form a stronger bond. Self care, self love. Us both sitting in silence, us both meditating, us both, grounding ourselves, tree hugging.
Yeah.
Uh, just I don't know, just realizing that we sometimes in most cases, which is most cases, we are two completely we're different people, but we we complete each other, we balance each other out. So you know I'm sitting in silence, you're reading your book, it's fine, like things like that. I mean, small
Yeah.
things. you know
And that being okay, because I find that I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes a lot of people feel that silence needs to be filled with something. And like, if we're just sitting down there being quiet, then oh, does she think I'm boring? You know,
exactly.
and
Ego,
you
that's
know, and
ego.
then all these thoughts
You
come in
gotta
your
make
head.
her.
It's like,
Yeah,
no, we're just
it's like
sitting like,
you got to
you know,
make her laugh every minute. It's like that's like, yeah, nah,
no.
that's
Yeah, a girl who doesn't have anything else good, a girl who doesn't practice self-care for herself, yeah, you got to entertain her 24/7 because
yeah.
I mean,
And that's
but
because I must entertain so she don't leave. Like if I don't entertain her, if I'm not putting a smile on her face, like yo, she could possibly
yeah,
leave.
but it's sad that that's what society tells us, because that is not like it's like we've been socialized and we've been programmed and taught how to interact with each other on a very dysfunctional basis. Like, I think we were very dysfunctional at that time. Like for that to even be a thing, like, oh, you have to make her laugh and entertain her all the time, and do this and do that and show her this and show her that. No, like, no.
Yeah,
That's why relationships aren't working. Because
yeah,
if you go in there on that, then neither person knows anything about self-care. Because if you like, if that resonates in your soul, like I
yeah.
have to be, doing this and doing that,
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's
okay.
like it's like why aren't you texting me back?
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I don't like my phone too much. It's like yeah, it's like if you don't understand somebody's self care is being alone and enjoying their alone time to balance out the frequencies of the week and stuff like that. If
Yeah.
you don't understand that's that person and you're not willing to understand that, yeah, stay away from this person because you're gonna be, you know,
You
not
know what? We're not the funny thing about it is we're not going to be understanding of that until we experience it for ourselves.
exactly.
And that is true for everything. It's not just with the communication, it's not just with the phone thing. Because I remember being that way. Like when I was younger, I would date like older guys and they obviously practiced better self-care than I did at that time. And they'd be like, oh, well, I wasn't around my phone all day. And I couldn't understand it because my phone was always in my hand. It was always there with me. Like, how could you not see my text? Like, because I'm looking at it from my perspective.
Yeah,
But
universal. Yeah,
now that I've experienced the other side of it, it's like, okay, I totally get that. Because there are times when I leave my phone at home and I will not turn around and go get it. I'll just be like, okay, well, I left it at home today. The universe is like, leave your phone. So that's what
exactly.
I did.
I got my keys. That's more important
Yeah,
than
I
my
got
phone.
my keys. I
I'm
got the
good. You know what I'm
essentials. What do
saying?
I need a phone for? I'm going to work,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
So it's totally different. Okay.
yeah.
Any last words?
Yeah, man. Conscious is a crazy podcast. Google Play, Google Podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud, a little bit of everything. Just Google Conscious a Crazy Podcast everywhere. Con Science all together in one word or crazy two question marks. But yeah, conversations like this definitely, once again can heal a village. You know, you know, it, it takes, like they say, it takes a village, and having conversations like this, vibe equals tribe. Having these, important conversations can save relationships, can help people start relationships right. And then, just create more healthy relationships. Because people, like I said, what I'm saying? They're going for tens, but like, yo, she's a toxic person, man. It's like, what? It's like, now she's your baby mama, and it's sorry, Miss Jackson. Nah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, we go, yeah. I think we just got to be realistic about relationships and go in relationships, right. Just can't be, going in them selfish because you're gonna get, some backlash going in relationships selfish. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
boundaries.
the key. Right, like you said, is a term that can be misconstrued, but selfishness, we all know what that means for us. Um, and at the end of the day, anything that impedes the free will of somebody else is selfish. To me, I guess, anyway. That's the way that I would uh, define that term. So, yes, let's try to make efforts to go into our relationships selflessly, um, but also selfish to a point of where we're not forfeiting our self care ourselves, because a lot of times we can get wrapped up in relationships and we forget. Before this, I used
Right?
to work out and I used to
We
do this,
lose our
I used to
self
do all my,
identity.
my whole thing, right? And then now I'm in this relationship and we just go out and eat all the time,
Exactly.
right?
We was
Being able
Batman, and
to,
then now we Bruce Wayne. We don't
yeah,
have no identity now. Like, yo,
yes,
it's
yes.
yeah,
And that's a red flag because that should tell you that that's not a person you want to be in a relationship with. Like that's the easiest way to know. When you get with somebody and you automatically want to abandon everything that you were doing for yourself before and cling to them and do everything for them, that is not a good sign. That's a sign of codependency.
yeah.
Something we didn't get to talk about today,
I
but
hate codependency. We kind of talked about it though.
we're gonna be.
We
I
kind of talked
wanted to
about it.
keep this like. Go ahead.
Yeah, we kind of talked about codependency
Yeah.
in a way. Yeah,
Yeah, codependency. We kind of talked about it a little bit. Yeah. All right. So I think I already said my last words. Just let's try to be more open in relationships and less programmed, just more honest,
yeah.
more um, upfront with what we need, more respectful of each other. Um, and yeah, till next time.
Definitely appreciate you. Definitely. All right.
And
Peace.
stop Kim and the broadcast.